everyone, Arnaldo Offerman of Master School Dances. After a lot of questions about DMX software and different levels of CompuShow, I'm making a video again to talk about some of the reasons why I switched to CompuShow, what the different units entail, and as well as the new updates. So first of all, let's go over the reasons of why I like CompuShow. Cool thing about CompuShow is you can do a lot more stuff live. Of course, you can do layering scenes, which a lot of software, different softwares allow, but you can go one step further. For example, let's say we have a movement where it's going in a circle. Now I can have it go in a circle, I can speed it up or slow it down, or I can have it go forwards or backwards. But and that's using the phasing, where it goes one way to another. If I only go halfway, it gives you that fanning effect, where you have one light following after the other. Let's say you have, the floods, right, going from red to green, back and forth, and you use the phasing. All of a sudden, one turns red, then the next one turns red, next one turns red, and then it goes from there. It gives you a lot more live options on that. But you can also control the individual speed, not just in your scene, but individual elements. So let's say we have, we make a switch of a scene where the moving heads are going around in circles, and then we choose the color that goes from blue to green. I can tell it to either A, make the movements faster, or I can have the colors go faster and have the movements go slower, or I can have the entire show as a whole go faster or slower, whichever. So you can control individual different parts of it. Another great thing is there are switches. Switches basically are common programs that the average light uses. When you do a moving head, they all have X, Y values. So whenever you do any kind of moving head in, it automatically makes little switches of like going in a circle or going up and down or sideways or to the beat of the music. So let's say you just got a moving head, you load it in, right? And you have what's called your SSL2 profile, basically your fixture profile. You load it in, it makes switches to that profile. So now I can take a moving head that I just got in and I can choose my colors, or I can choose movements, or I can choose strobing right out of the box with zero DMX programming. That is super easy. Another great thing is, let's say I have, my QWH5s, right? One of my technicians or my other DJ's friends buy QWH5s. They don't want to make scenes for them when they can use mine. No problem, I can export my page. He or she can import it into their show. Oh no, the DMX address is different. Not a big deal. They just readdress it. Let's say you already have a show all made and you buy a few extra floods for it. And you want them, you're anal retentive like I am, and you all want them in the same continuous. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you don't have any more DMX channels, so you got to readdress them. You don't lose your entire show, you just move them to the new DMX address, and it copies everything in, you're good to go. But then what about all the programs you've already made? Well, instead of having to copy and paste each individual step, you just go to each scene, you drag and drop one of the, let's say, QWH5s to the other QWH5, and the show's been copied over. So super easy with that. Tons of different features, but those are some of the ones that I really enjoy. Again, especially the live control. Now, there are several different dongles available, and they all offer different features. But the software, the main core software, is going to be the same throughout the entire board. The big difference is you have your CompuBasic, you have your CompuQ, and then or CompuQ Basic, then your regular CompuQ, then your SD and SD Plus. Now, the CompuBasic is what I ran all my shows with up until now. I just got the new dongle, which we'll go over in just a second. The Basic gives you all the features. What it does not give you is multiple universes. You have DMX in, DMX out, okay? And then, of course, all the software features are there, except the advanced timeline. So the timeline controls, again, allows you to do really precise, where you drop in a song and then you can have different things happening to it. It's real powerful. It offers some things you may have never even thought of before. I didn't really need to use it because I don't like programming songs or live shows to individual songs, because it may change. My setup changes, the overall songs always change, so I don't really care to do that. Instead, I use cycles, and cycles basically are kind of like the timeline things. You can tell them to turn off, turn on, turn on, turn off. Not as easy as using the timeline control, but I wasn't too worried about that. So again, the Q Basic was perfect for me. Then of course you had your Q, which allowed 2 universes, and then DMX in as well. Then you had the more advanced ones. Now you have SD and SD Plus. And to my knowledge, SD and SD Plus are no longer manufactured. I'll tell you why in just a moment. But they are still being supported. The newer software updates and everything does support it. So you're good. No worries there. SD Plus allows 3 DMX universes out of the one box. And then you have 4 ArtNet. Basically, it would, whenever you use ArtNet, you have your computer dial into an ArtNet, let's just call it a splitter or whatever, and you have 4 individual universes out of it. So you have 7 universes out of it, which is awesome. Plus, you have an SD card where you can load your show and run standalone. So if you don't have a computer, you basically run the thing on standalone. Pretty easy. Those little buttons there to control each scene. Then you have SD Plus, which give you all the features as well, but they have a theoretical unlimited. And I say theoretical because there's always a limit, especially how powerful your computer is, but theoretical unlimited ArtNet universes. You can run an AC/DC concert off this thing if you want to. So, why are they no longer being manufactured? Again, it's not that they're outdated, they still work just great. You're not going to have an issue with them. But you have the SDE. SDE basically takes the SD and upgrades it a little bit. Again, you have your 3 universes. Universe 1 is right here. Universe 2 is a 5-pin. So you may be wondering how you get 2 DMX universes out of there. Again, as you know, 5-pin with 5-pin DMX cable, 2 of them aren't being used. Therefore, extra data or whatever. Well, you have your pins 1, 2, and 3 or whatever. That's your first DMX channel. And then your other 2 share the common ground with the first one. And that's your second DMX universe. So you basically get a 5-pin to dual 3-pin. You're good to go. 3 universes out of the box. You have your USB. You have your traditional I/O ports, I guess for different controllers and stuff. You have your SD card. And last but not least, you have Ethernet. Oh, this is exciting. This is not for ArtNet out. Not quite. Right now, there's tons of really cool updates and plans that are coming along. But right now, what this does is it gives you 2 options. You can either connect to this via USB or you can connect it via Ethernet. Now, how does this become really handy? Because if you have this right next to your computer, big deal. I would just use USB. But how does this really work with Ethernet? Well, let's say that, you have a live show way on the other side. You don't want to run your Ethernet or your DMX cable all the way across. Especially if you're running 3 universes, right? You're going to run 3 individual DMX universes. That's kind of a pain. Maybe you don't want to do wireless for one reason or another. You can run along Ethernet cable, or you put this thing, attach it to a wireless router, put it, somewhere near your trussing or whatever, then have your computer connect to that wireless router, and you can dial in with the IP address. So that's really cool. So essentially this and a regular Wi-Fi modem that you can pick up out of anywhere, and you can convert this thing into a wireless unit. Now that's really neat. What I want to find out is if I can that means if I could have control, obviously you'd have to do port forwarding, but that means I could technically control a show even if I'm not in the same room. That's pretty exciting stuff. Also, the processor is a little bit faster on this one, so you'll be able to, just keep up with the times and everything else. Overall, great unit, and that is the CompuShow CompuSDE. Great unit. Absolutely exciting. Now, a lot of you guys may be intimidated, especially when you play the software, because I sure was. I was like, yeah, there's way too much stuff that I'm never going to need. And it took me a while to really get a chance to play with it because it looked intimidating. So a lot of people that ask me, well, I've never used DMX before. Is this going to be easy for me? Yeah, switches make everything easier. The fact that, it automatically, if you, let's say, import LED floods, you have it imports a switch, it looks like a little color wheel, right? And then you just select your color, drag, and you're good to go. You quickly select the colors. It's easy. Let's make this even easier. A lot of the shows that you have seen from my prom the last few months have either been run by Derek, have been run by my wife, Monica, although she hasn't been able to work as much again because of the whole back surgery and everything else. And then, of course, is my youngest, Calvin. Now, he's never used CompuShow before. He's never even wired a DMX light before. He doesn't even know what DMX stands for. Now, he does, but you get my point. So, he ran some great shows. I'm going to put him on the camera. I'm going to ask him some questions about CompuShow, and we'll see how easy it is to really use. So, unless you've been espionage and working for somebody else behind my back, you've never used DMX before. Nope. Okay, you've never used a DMX software. Nope. Never even wired up a light until the first week of the last week of March. That's when you ran your very first show for Lake Region's prom. How easy was it for you to start using CompuShow right away?
It took about 5 minutes to learn everything. I mean, just everything was already programmed. Everything was there for you to just click. Everything was just instant. Click this, it changes the covers. Click this, it does all kinds of different things. It's so easy to get used to. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to fully learn how to control the lights.
How did you like about the fact that you could take the programs that I had already made And how were you, like, what were some of the cool things that you did as far as making them strobe or dimming certain lights down? I mean, what went through your head when you were making some of these programs live to go to the music as I was mixing it?
Well, what was going through my head at the moment was like, oh, how am I going to be able to do this? It's going to be really hard. No, it was just so easy. There's like so many settings that you can just click to instantly make it go to this, and you can just follow along with what he's doing. There are just different colors and stuff to make it go along with the moment. There's already presets for everything. You can just make it fade in and out of different colors, and you can just do all kinds of things with it.
When we did the wedding, and I pretty much told you right away, hey, okay, when we do the grand entrance, I need you to go to this scene. When we do the first dance, I need you to fade in and out. When we go over here, I need you to do this song. You know, I could have pretty much pre-programmed everything, but instead I showed you the colors that I wanted you to do and use the faders to go up and down to fade different lights on and off, to recall different lights. How easy was that for you to do, considering you were running several different types of lights and your fingers had to be on 4 or 5 different sliders at a time?
There was really no difficulty to it. It was just so easy. They had the titles on them, what I need to slide up and down. The colors were already preset, so I just slide this, it'd do it instantly. I mean, there was nothing hard to do about it. It just happened. Nothing ever screwed up. It just went smooth.
The other big advantage that any unit, besides the basic, has, I mean, they all have 3D views and all that, but the Q, the SDE, and all the other cool, you know, the higher ones have a little bit extra features with 3D. I haven't had a chance to play with them yet, otherwise I'd tell you about them. But yeah, so again, this is the Elation CompuSDE. It's the newest member of the family. Definitely don't miss out on it. Again, if you have the SD or SD Plus, it's not outdated. It's no longer no good. The software still works for it. Now, there is the new update does support the Ethernet. So if you currently are running the current software, your Ethernet is not enabled. There's new software that just got released, so just keep a lookout for it, that will enable Ethernet support. Very excited about it. If you have any questions or anything about CompuShow, you can join our group down below. It's in the description on Facebook, or of course leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Thank you so much. My name is Arnaldo Offerman with Master School Dances. Thank you and God bless.